everyone, and welcome back to Arguably Speaking.
I'm Kiera,
I'm Sarah.
and we're really happy you're back for another episode.
Happy episode number 19.
And happy Valentine's Day. 19 is the number of love, obviously.
I've heard it said.
But we are so excited for this episode. We're kind of going to talk it through as we go, but our themes are social cues and unspoken rules because we realize that there's a lot that we are missing or breaking.
True. We, I don't know, have had quite a few social interactions lately just because we're more busy in the beginning of the year season. So, this has come up mildly more often in our lives. And, for you listeners, we want to keep things relevant to your lives, and also it helps when they're relevant to our own. So that's the content you get.
That's what you get. And you don't throw a fit.
It's true.
But before we jump into that, I think we should do a little week in review.
Please.
Because it's been, a whole week since our last episode.
It has. I would like you to do your review first.
Okay. I will start. I had, just with the boring stuff first, so many deadlines with school and stuff. I don't know why I was like, February 1st, everything's going to be better. Because it just simply was not better. It was simply just really bad. And I've been so stressed with all of my thesis stuff and all of the everything. But besides that, I also am like, I'm not going to sacrifice my social life for school because one, FOMO, and two, you need a good balance.
It's true.
But this past weekend, what did I do on Saturday? Oh, on Friday. It starts on Friday. We start the weekend on Friday, and the week, honestly, we don't even remember what happens during the week. Anyways, this Friday, me and a couple of my friends decided we wanted to go out on the town because we just haven't been doing that very much recently, or we just don't really do that very much ever. But we thought it'd be fun, so a little group of us went out. Everything in Capitol Hill was dead. Like,
oh, really?
There were a ton of people walking about and up and down the streets, but anytime you went into like a bar or a pub or a club or anything, it was like very, very quiet inside.
Weird.
So we ended up going to this one that had vending machines, and I was like, awesome. I want some sun chips.
I was wondering if it was going to be vending machines with snacks or with like drinks or something.
Well, one of them had cigarettes in it, and like it was a whole vending machine of cigarettes, but I didn't want that. I was like, I want some sun chips, but it only took cash, and I was like, darn, this is really dumb.
Yeah.
There was an ATM next to it, but I was like, I don't wanna pay the $3.50 to get charged to use this ATM.
Yeah.
How silly. So one of my friends, she was like, don't worry, we can get you $1. Like, we'll be able to do it. She's like, you just need to ask anyone. And I was like, I don't know. I'm like kind of, it feels like a little weird. She's like, I got you. Like, don't worry. And so we walk up and we go to this one random man, and she's like, hi, my friend, like, really, really wants a bag of sun chips from that vending machine over there. Is there any chance you have $1? And this man, actually, gem of a human being. He was like, well, actually, like, I do, but, like, if you get it, that means you have to, like, give me a sun chip. Like,
easy.
And you have to, pick a good flavor, like, I will be judging. And we were like, ha, sure, whatever. Gives me the $1. And I was like, cha-ching!
No way!
Big win!
Wow.
And so we went to the vending machine, we got the sun chip, and then, or the bag of sun chips, and I was like, yay! And then I was like, wait, I feel like it's awkward now. I don't want to go give him a sun chip. I don't know, I'll hold my end of the bargain. She's like, don't worry, I will do it for you.
Wow.
Because this man was like, older than me by not a crazy amount, but like 30s.
Okay.
And so she's like, don't worry, I'll grab it. So she took the sun chip and she offered the bag, and he only took one, like he said.
Aww.
He's like, glad to be of service, like, have a great evening. But the story does not stop there. Nay. my friend, she was like, okay, like we should see how many people we can get to give us $1. And I was like, you're right. We should do
This is
that.
our activity.
So we went back to the vending machine and we were like, what else looks good in here? And they had red vines and we were like, yeah, that's the next target. So we go up to this other guy who had been staring at us for a while and we're like, you know what, this is tax for staring at us. And so we were like, hi, hey, we're like, we just really want to get some red vines. Any chance you have an extra dollar in cash? And he's like, oh, maybe. And then his friend came up and he was like, bro, I don't have $1. Like, do you have $1? Like, trying to get this. And this guy didn't have $1 either, but he's like, wait, no, don't worry, I got this. So he pulls out his credit card and sticks in the ATM and gets
No
money out of the
way.
ATM.
Oh my
Which is
gosh.
crazy, right?
That is crazy.
And so he gets all of this money, and then, well, first he gets a 20. He's like, we can't put a 20 in the vending machine. It probably won't give any change because we're at a random bar. And so he goes to the front counter of the bar area and has to get change, comes back with the change, and then it goes, the story goes, I should no, he puts $1 in and then gets something else, so he gets Fritos and we're like, oh, cool. And he was trying to like chat us up and stuff and be like, oh, I'm not gonna buy red vines for girls' names that I don't know, and like, starts,
Oh.
it starts being weird. And then two of their other friends come over and we're just like, okay, now there's too many of you, this is weird. But we're like, no, we want the red vines. And then he puts more money in and gets Cheetos. We're like,
Fritos and Cheetos?
why are you doing this? Nothing. And so we're just like, okay, we're done. So we were like, this experiment failed second time. We should have stopped while we were ahead. And so we just left and we were like, fine, meh. But that guy just got like 2 bags of chips and got charged money.
Just to
So
like wag his chips in front of your face? Like that's so
I
okay.
don't know. It's so
Well,
weird, but a funny turn of
yeah,
events. And
super
also just
funny.
like a fun little thing.
And you did get sun chips.
And I did get sun chips, and they were good. They were the salsa flavor.
Oh,
So
nice.
good. But then the next day was a Saturday.
Yes.
Yes. And on Saturday, what did I do? Why can't I remember what I did on Saturday? That's crazy.
Blacked out.
I know I was super
We
stressed.
didn't go see a movie.
Oh, yes, Saturday was really fun because I did a clothing swap with my friends.
Nice.
And I brought a bunch of clothes that I wasn't really wearing anymore. Everybody else brought a bunch of clothes, and there were like 10 people.
Wow.
And so it was a lot of clothes. We had hangers all over everywhere, and people set out all of their things.
That's so
And then you
cute.
just went and grabbed whatever you wanted, and we kind of took turns. And yeah, it was very fun. And then I
Did you
didn't
bring
go-
anything home?
that bag, you can't see it, the fellow listeners, but Sarah can see it.
Yeah.
That bag, full of
Nice.
stuff.
Oh my god.
Also,
Yeah.
the sweater thing that I wore today, from that.
Yes.
Yeah,
Cute.
it's okay. She doesn't remember. And then after that, I didn't go see that movie. I did work. And then I went to a friend's birthday party.
Nice.
And then I went to Hot Pot.
Yeah. Wow.
Because
That's
I
a full
overlapped.
Saturday.
But the birthday party was so nice. They like had all the fine china out and very nice place settings.
Wow.
And they were making homemade pasta. They didn't have a pasta maker though, so
Less good.
less good just because it was very thick. But
Mhm.
it was still good, like homemade stuff, and like
Yeah.
everybody brought things. And then I was like,
Awesome.
I gotta go to Hot Pot because it's Lunar New Year.
Oh yeah.
And so went to do
Year of
that.
the Dragon. Yes.
Year of the Dragon, which
Very
is my
nice.
year.
No
so
way.
it's gonna be a
Happy
great
New
year.
Year.
Thank you. And then I woke up on Sunday and we had our little Super Bowl
Yes, we
party.
did. Yes, we
So
did.
maybe you can start there and then you can go backwards through your week.
Okay. Honestly, that will work better for me remembering what happened in my week. So we did host a Super Bowl party. I was the hostess, if you will, because it
Mhm.
was my idea, because I wanted to have dips and chips. And boy, did we deliver on that one.
We did.
It went
Wow.
so well, you guys. We had a ridiculously large amount of chips because I didn't buy any chips and I was making like a big thing of 7-layer dip. What are the layers, you ask? refried beans, sour cream, guacamole, salsa, lettuce, tomato, cheese.
Nice.
Nice. Anyways, it was great. It was delicious, but I didn't buy any chips, and I was like, okay, I need to tell people to get chips. And then I told too many people to get chips,
And then we had a lot of chips.
and then we had a lot of chips.
And then people who weren't asked to bring chips also brought chips.
Yeah, yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. But at the same time, you can't really go wrong with chips. You know, they will be eaten as long as they don't go stale, which we just need to be diligent at closing up those little tops if we're not eating them anymore. Easy money. But anyways, yeah, we had a lot of fun. Not a lot of people were super invested in the teams that were in the game. And so, you know, some of us were watching, some of us weren't. And it was, you know, still a good time.
Yeah, it was just nice to like be around other people, eat a lot of good food
Yeah.
because like that's a lot of good food. A lot of Super Bowl food, you know,
It's
your
true.
finger food, your dips, all that
All of the
stuff.
foods where like you don't really feel like you're allowed to eat them for a meal at any other point unless it's like a sporting event and you're marathon eating,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So they're just like they're grazing foods.
Exactly. Like there's
That's
no
what they
other
are.
place where you can eat that much guacamole in one sitting and have no one really notice you.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it. I live for that environment. But it was super fun. It was super fun. So that was Sunday. And on Saturday, I went to my aunt and uncle's.
Oh yes, I haven't heard
So
about this.
it was super nice. I got picked up by my cousin who also lives in Seattle, and we drove over to my aunt and uncle's, and we all had dinner together, and it was so lovely. Like, I haven't been able to connect with them yet, even though I've lived here for coming up on 6 months, just
Yeah.
because they've had a lot of stuff happen in their lives and like have been in and out of the state and all that, which is totally fine. Sometimes you have a busy year. And so we just hadn't connected yet, but we got together and they're, you know, family that I don't see super often, mostly because I have lived across the country from them.
Totally.
And so when I have seen them, it's like at funerals and weddings and other stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Not
And
the
so,
fun.
well, weddings are fun,
Weddings are
but
fun.
like just everybody in the family's there, you know? And so it was really nice to kind of get that one-on-one like, hey,
Quality time.
yeah, like how are you? How has the move been? And like kind of just rehashing everything that's happened up until this point, but then also just like getting to know them a little bit as humans instead of just as like, ah, yes, the uncles. Make sure you give everyone a hug, and then you talk with people about their last 5 weeks at the family reunion, and then you make sure to give everyone a hug before you leave. You know,
Hug sandwich, hug sandwich.
exactly, exactly. And it was really nice. And they sent me home with all of the leftover chicken, and
Big win.
oh, it was so good, you guys. I don't know if you've ever heard of chicken marbella before.
I've heard of it.
Okay, so it's chicken and then green olives and prunes.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I did not
And
know
then
about the prune.
capers and prunes. So I've been eating a lot of this chicken. And also I have been eating a lot of carrots because I ate a bunch of carrots too. This sounds unrelated, but it will come up. On Saturday, earlier in that day, I went on a walk with Bella. And this is mildly embarrassing, but I'm still gonna tell you guys because it's been something I've been struggling with the past few days. Just been eating really odd meals or slash and meals that have a lot of fiber. And my relationship with being close to a restroom has become more and more important over the past few days. And so I went on a walk with Bella, and like it could have been a much more exciting story to tell you guys, which I probably wouldn't have told you. But I like ran back to this house.
Wow.
Yeah, because
Oh
I
my
was
God.
so afraid. We were in this park that's near our house. It's lovely. And I was like, Bella, I might have to like go squat in the woods right now. But there just simply are not enough woods to not be seen.
Oh no.
And Bella was like, you can do this. Let's turn around. We'll go back to the house as fast as we can. And I was like, Bella, I do not feel safe.
Oh
And
no.
she was like,
Oh my God.
I believe in you. And I was like, I'm glad that one of us does. I did make it home. It was okay. And I have never been so scared that I was gonna have to like poop on the sidewalk in my
Oh
life.
my God. Oh my God.
I can't even tell you.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I've been struggling, okay? I don't know. Me and my relationship with my body hasn't been going super well, which is weird because I feel like I've been eating healthier foods, but maybe it's because I'm eating healthier. I don't like okay, arguably the Super Bowl, I
I
was
was
not
like,
eating healthier foods.
I do not know if I believe you've been eating healthier foods. I feel like
I
that would be a stretch.
I feel like I've been eating more consistently a three meal like set each like
Yeah,
every
but
day.
like if you have a bagel for dinner, that's
Okay,
not
I ate
healthy.
a bagel for dinner because I didn't want to eat anything that would make me need to poop while I was playing frisbee. Also, okay, moving on.
Okay, we can move on. But yeah.
Also, when we are recording this, it is Tuesday, and I played frisbee right before we were recording this. And I did end up telling the people I was playing frisbee with that I have a podcast, which is super
Hi.
fun. We plugged the pod. Hi, everyone. You know who you are. I am still kind of shocked that I told you the real name of our podcast.
I am too. We don't usually do this.
I know, this is special. So, if you are listening, feel special. I'm glad you're here, and please don't ever talk to me about this because I might get embarrassed,
Yeah.
especially on the content of my last update. Anyway, moving on. Saturday, I think that's all I've got, really. On Friday, I played more frisbee, which is great. I've been loving that. I uh don't think yes, we lost. We lost because that team was
Was really
stacked. They
good.
were
I remember
really
hearing this
really good.
too,
They had two professional players on their team and
which should be
we
illegal.
held our own, honestly. If any of you listeners, dear listeners, enjoy sports, all you need to know is that we didn't win the half, but we were darn near close. Um, for the second half, and I had said to my team, I was like, don't pay attention to the scoreboard because we were down. I don't know, maybe the other team had like 10 points and we had something like 5. And I was like, okay, we're playing a game to 3. And then we scored 3 points in a row.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
I
amazing.
know. I was like, am
You're
I
such
a
a
freaking
good,
motivational
yeah,
coach or what?
you're a great
It
team
was so
captain.
good. Well, thank you. Thank you, thank you. I've been enjoying being slightly more of a leadery leader in terms of saying things. Maybe not on the field, but saying things. I've been stepping up, which is super fun. Any hoozles. I think beyond that, I don't have a lot of updates for the week. I am still fun employed, and I think that I am going to need to try and change that pretty soon here.
Yeah,
So that's super fun. And I've
that's why they call it fun employed.
it's true. It's so fun. I've been reading, I've been sewing, I've been doing a lot of things that bring me joy, and also I don't have any more money. So, there you are. There you
Yay!
are. No, it's
So
I
fun.
honestly like I'm pleased with how the past few months have shaken out and that's all I've really got for you. So, update's over.
Update's over.
We are into the content. I do have first though a small mini theme because this is coming out on Valentine's Day.
Okay.
Have you ever given or received a memorable Valentine?
I have pretty much always been single for Valentine's Day.
Fair.
So I have never received anything like super memorable. I remember we used to do like lollipops and crush cans at
Cute.
school, which I know
Mm-hmm.
you helped organize.
Yay. It was
And
actually
so
my idea.
I've gotten many a crush cans from friends, but I did get a lollipop from one person one time, which was nice.
Sweet.
And that was cool. But I don't think I've ever gotten any Valentine that was like, wow, crazy,
Oh my
like
gosh.
out of the ordinary. My mom always gives me really good Valentine's Day gifties.
Cute.
And I always give her little Valentine's Day gifties. I pretty much always hand make cards for
Really?
Valentine's
Oh.
Day. So that's my big gift giving thing. Also because time and effort is just as great as money.
It's true. It's true. My sentiment is valuable.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I think you're right. Very cute.
What about you? What about you?
I have received one Valentine that I didn't expect, and it was when we were in high school, and the sweetest little band boy who I had talked to maybe twice, uh, when we were running around, Kira and I were in show choir.
Mm.
And Valentine's Day for a little while. I know I say this about every holiday, but Valentine's Day was my favorite holiday for a little while because I loved A, being able to skip
Oh
school,
my gosh.
B, wearing our sparkly dresses all day and traveling around and doing singing Valentines.
Yeah, so show choir, that was one of our things that we did.
Mm-hmm.
For those listeners who do not know, is we would learn a special set and then we would split into small groups and then we would go out into the community for anyone who would hire us out to do
Mm-hmm.
little Valentine's Day grams and they'd be all a cappella and you really hoped you were in a good group so you sounded good. I honestly was in a good group all of the times.
Yeah,
But I had heard some groups that weren't as good.
true.
Anyways, yeah,
It's the
that was the
closest.
best probably Valentine's Day
Yeah.
gift I've ever given to anyone.
Totally. It's like the closest I've ever been to being in a barbershop quartet type like singing environment,
Mhm.
and I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved feeling like I am the only person who's contributing my part, and therefore when I do it good and it sounds good, it's
It's
all
all
me.
me.
Yeah. Freaking love that. But yeah. Anyways, going back to this, we were in between doing singing Valentines at the school, I remember, and this band boy like shoved a Ziploc baggie in my hand and then ran away. And I was like, "What?" And it was just a Ziploc baggie full of candy, and then it had a tiny little like necklace that you would get out of one of those like gumball machines,
Yeah, yeah,
and it
yeah.
was like a little sparkly heart, and I was like, "Wow." And I got really uncomfortable because I was like, I don't know this small band boy, and also like he was shy and a little, more
Aww.
reserved and
You
stuff.
know
So
how
I was like, what
much
do I do?
effort that probably took him.
Mhm,
Aw,
mhm.
poor guy.
But it was yeah. I was very shocked, and I was like, this is very nice, and never actually talked about it or with this person, never, and yeah.
And that's okay.
But I still remember it and think about it and being like, no, it was nice that someone thought about doing that and then also did it.
Yeah,
So,
that's really sweet.
yeah, pretty fun.
Aw. Aw.
Pretty fun, pretty fun. But yeah.
Well, based on that interaction, I think it's time to get into some social cues that I'm going to start out with one of them and I just want your opinion on it.
Okay, love.
Because I know there are a lot of things that it's like I didn't realize this until when I was in my 20s or whatever. Like I didn't realize this was like a known common thing that everybody did.
Yeah.
But I want your opinion on what they call Irish goodbyes, I
Oh,
believe.
yes.
And for those of you who may not know what that is, from my perspective and what I've heard, it is essentially when you leave an outing without saying goodbye to anyone.
Yeah.
I don't know why it is called that. I honestly just learned what an Irish goodbye was within the past like 2 years.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
would agree with the timing in which I have learned
Yeah.
what it was.
Are you a fan? Do you like? Do you dislike?
For myself,
For yourself or for others? Or both?
okay. For myself first, then, gravely dislike because I love attention. And saying goodbye is like you get everyone's attention. You're like, well, okay, bye everyone. I think I'm gonna hang out. Hang out. I think I'm gonna head out.
They
Like
go, oh,
this was
love
really
you,
fun. And they're like,
Sarah.
no, we miss you. Stay. You're the best. We love you. And I just feel like very affirmed that my presence was appreciated and then
Yeah.
will be missed. So I
Which is
love that.
important.
I love that. Like I just fills my bucket. So I would not Irish goodbye unless I dislike the people I'm around, but usually that doesn't really happen. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't think I'm usually in social large settings with people that I dislike often. So I can't say that I've encountered that want or need very much in my life. For other people, if you Irish goodbye, as long as you're sober, I don't care.
Man, okay. I don't like the idea of an Irish goodbye, like in any sense
Okay.
ever. Like, I always feel like I want to say goodbye because I want you to, I also like attention. I want you to be like, oh, bye. Like, we'll miss you. And I think acknowledging that you're leaving is just a nice thing to do, especially if you're at an
Yeah.
event where, like, I don't know, like a bunch of people can leave at once and that's fine, and you kind of know that group is leaving. But if a
Right.
single person leaves, sometimes I'm like looking for them. I'm like,
Yeah.
where'd they go?
What happened to Shayla?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then I would never personally want someone to leave without saying goodbye to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh,
Not only am I
do you
looking for
not
them,
care?
yeah, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm very into goodbyes. I like my little closing
Closure.
moment.
Closure is good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I feel
Mm-hmm.
that. I feel that. Yeah. I am very against Irish goodbyes if there are any amount of substances being used,
Yeah, that's
you
fair.
know?
That's fair.
If someone disappears and they were a little tipsy even, I'm just like, well, now I'm gonna have to worry for the rest of the night. This is great. You know, even if it's just like, oh yeah, their other roommate probably came and picked them up. Like, oh, it's
Yeah.
fine. I'm like, well, we don't
But
know,
you
do
don't
we?
know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
So that's my like social rule, social cue that I do not like
there you
and
go.
don't abide by. But I get that sometimes you just want to slip out because
Mm,
you're just like, this is too much, or you just are like, I don't need to say goodbye. I don't like these people that much.
fair
All of
enough.
that. I do get it, but I don't
Yeah,
necessarily follow.
comes down to context. How do you feel about, like, the best way to end an extended goodbye?
Oh, like an extended goodbye, like, oh, well, we're gonna head out. And then you're like talking and
Well,
talking and
wait.
talking.
Oh, I almost forgot this one last thing. Isn't that, have you heard? Oh my gosh. And then it just
Yeah.
goes and goes and goes and goes.
Yeah, I usually always am like, oh, well, I have to go do X, like something that has a time cutoff.
Mm-hmm.
I also do that if I'm going into a situation that I know I don't want to be in very long. I'm like, well, I have a meeting like right after this at blank.
Gotcha.
And
And then
like
you
I
have
will
this,
have
like,
to go. You
this
have
is
your
the
own
time.
excuse to go.
Nice.
And if I don't want this extended goodbye, I will get out. But if I actually enjoy talking to you and it's kind of a fun thing, I let it ride for a little.
We'll see how long it goes.
Yeah.
That's super fair. Yeah, I don't know why, but the Midwest seems to think that it's very, like, special in its, A, like, different verbal cues and mentions, but then also in the, like, way that saying goodbye takes forever. If you
Mm.
follow any kind of Midwest like social media accounts, they're like always have weird, funny, spoofy stuff about like, well, I guess I'll just head on out here
Well.
then. You know, and just like slaps knees and stands up, guess it's time to leave, you know, all of that. So
Mm-hmm.
kind of silly. That'd be fun to ask.
All right, so I would like to open it up to the floor. What did you not realize was like socially taboo, or like maybe you shouldn't talk about it? Maybe you are supposed to do things a certain way, or it's like socially accepted for you, but like way later than you should have known it. Oh, like, oh, we don't talk about like how old this food is, but it's pretty old. Or like, we don't talk about how much money we spent on this, but it's kind of a lot.
Fair enough.
Kind of
Fair
things
enough.
along those lines.
For a really long time, my grandmother didn't let us say what year old she was turning
Mm.
at the birthday celebrations that we would have because we have a lot of family members that have, you know, birthdays around the same time. And so we'd be like, oh, Sarah's turning blank, like Aunt so and so's turning blank. And then it's like, and Gammy's 1 year older and is 1 year fuller of life or something like that, you know? And it was
Mm.
just always kind of silly. And then she ended up getting really mad at us because we forgot like a very we forgot it was her 80th birthday.
Oh no.
Which is like a big one.
Yeah.
And she was like, we're not doing anything special. And we were like, we didn't know how old you were. Like, you wouldn't let us say anything about her.
Yeah.
And now she's proud, and now she wants everyone to know how old she is because she's doing great for her age.
Totally.
And it's just, it's kind of funny where it was like,
Why?
You know, like, this
It's
is
not our
something we're not
fault.
supposed to talk about, and then we're also just supposed to remember it. It was funny.
Well, that's one thing that is like socially not acceptable is like asking women specifically, maybe sometimes men too, but like what their age is.
Yeah.
I think it goes for like both older and younger. I
Mm.
think it's more older of like, oh, you don't want to like reveal how old someone is.
Yeah.
But now it's kind of coming into play with you don't want to ask how young someone is. That's like against like workplace
Right.
everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that could be like a discriminatory factor.
Right.
So I don't know. That's interesting. I don't really normally ask people how old they are until we're like friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes
And you
sense.
can kind of infer.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you just end up accidentally dating a 30-year-old.
It's true. Sometimes they say that they haven't read a comic since 1999 or something like that. You get a little confused.
You're like, how is that possible if you're
Right.
25?
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, I will say that it's really difficult to tell age nowadays. That is
mhm.
something I talked about with my cousin when we were at dinner the other
Yeah.
night. It's like talking about the Seattle freeze and everything, it is just really hard to make adult friends, and also it's weird to try and make adult friends not knowing like really what demographic they're in, because
Mhm.
like I'm not old enough. I haven't lived enough adult life to really be good friends with someone who's 30 or older.
Yeah.
And it's hard to tell these days because everyone's kind of dressing to look more mature.
Yeah, dressing to look more mature, or like if you're older, you're dressing to look younger.
Yeah,
Thing,
right.
so it balances itself out, and like
Everyone just wants to look 25.
everyone looks the exact same age to me. Um, yeah, and
Funny.
I was having this conversation like, oh, like with all of my friends who are millennials because a lot of my friends are older than me
Yeah.
because I'm in like a program that has an older demographic. Not crazy older, but a lot of people it's like their second career or they're coming back to school.
Yeah.
So everyone's like, "Oh yeah, I try to be fun and hip and like Gen Z people kind of scare me." And then sometimes I just remember I am Gen Z. Like as
Yeah.
much as I'm like I'm on the cusp, I think we are
I'm
solidly
pretty
in
sure
Gen
we're Gen
Z.
Z. Yeah.
Like pretty obviously like year-wise and personality-wise. I think we remember a couple things back in the day, back in the 90s, but
Yeah.
we are Gen Z.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. Well, do you have another social cue that you would
Oh
like to
god.
talk about?
It's so annoying because I came up with this idea and had such a good one. I was like, this one is perfect and will spur such great conversation, and now I can't remember it.
That is pretty funny. I think that in terms of like Gen Z versus millennials, we bring it back to that a little bit. I think that Gen Z people find it way less taboo to talk about A, mental health, and B, like therapy, and C, the medications that all of us are taking.
Mm.
And
Sure.
I think that in some ways that is like very taboo for older generations and
Hmm.
stuff. And we almost like make just a bunch of jokes about it.
We pretty much make jokes about everything. I think we just know too much.
Yeah.
We know too much about other people and how they live their lives. And that's great to an extent, but I think like the older generation was like, I'm the only person going through this, so I can't
Mm,
share it with anybody because I don't know what other people are going through. Now we're just like,
right.
oh, they're probably having mental health issues too, and I'm having mental health issues, and we're all having mental health
And
issues.
it's just a little funny
It's
because
kind
we're
of,
doing it together.
yeah, it's like camaraderie thing.
Yeah. I feel.
So honestly, I think that's why there is like a generational shift. It's not just like we're all comfortable now. It's just that we all have the information.
Right,
Like
we all
out there.
know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's true.
I think that one thing that generationally we also do is we over explain things.
Okay.
So we call attention to things that are not important. And this is what I've been trying to train myself to just like say, okay, I can't do something, I can do something. Like this is what's going to happen, not this happened, this happened, and these are all the things that led up to the final conclusion.
Okay.
Because it feels like I'm making excuses even if that's what actually happened.
Okay.
For example, say I'm late. Say I'm running late to whatever.
Yeah.
I'll say, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Like, I was trying to get out of my house and then, like, I missed the bus and so I had to wait for the next bus and the next bus was late and then I got on that bus and then that bus got stuck in traffic and then I got here and I'm so sorry I'm late." And someone,
Mm-hmm.
like, also probably would not have noticed if I was 5 minutes late. They would have been like, "Oh, okay, here they are.
Yeah.
They've been on time every other time. Something must have come up."
Right.
And, like, wouldn't have thought twice.
Right.
But because I just went da 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 da, now they remember
It
it.
feels like a bunch of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. That's super interesting. I understand. I understand. I want people to know the story though,
Yeah,
but they don't need the story.
and I think it makes, at least this is what I was told by a millennial recently.
Love.
And this millennial, she's a TA and is like, or she was a TA and was teaching undergraduate students, and she's like, yeah, for the most part, like, if you make no noise or don't cause any problems that are notable, I will not remember, and nobody else will either.
Yeah.
They're only gonna remember things if you draw attention to it. And
Huh.
Gen Z is really good at drawing attention to things.
There you go.
And I fall into that trap
love
too.
attention. This is the moral of this podcast. I wonder why we have a podcast. Maybe it's because we just really like attention.
I just think we're really funny, Sarah, okay?
It's so
And I
funny.
think the world needs to hear how funny we are.
Trying to explain to the Frisbee people. So why do you have a podcast? Well, we just think we're really funny. And there isn't really a theme. And you might not learn anything in particular, but we come up with something to talk about each week, and then we sit down and we talk about it for an hour. And they were like, sounds like a podcast. And I was like, yeah, that's totally
exactly
just what it is. Amazing.
Well, I think our big thing is it's basically a video diary for us. Like,
Yeah.
we're just catching up and then also talking about some random topic that we probably would have talked about anyways.
I think it's super fun.
But we live together and we just can.
It's true.
We live
It's
together.
so true. I am trying to think. So, social cues and
shoot, why can't I unspoken rules?
unspoken rules.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Do you actually have one, or are you just
Whenever-
saying something silly?
I'm gonna say something silly, but we can keep it if we want. Whenever people were talking about, like, women getting mad at men for leaving the toilet seat up, I didn't realize it was, like, the actual seat, because my mom bullied my brother and my dad to pee sitting down. And so, whenever they were talking about the toilet seat being up, I always thought they just meant the lid of the toilet.
Oh.
Yeah, which, like,
You always put that lid down too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when I was at other people's houses, because I was like, obviously, people want this to happen if women are so upset at men about it. And then I lived with men while I studied abroad, and I was like, this is so annoying. They keep on forgetting to put the toilet seat. It makes sense.
The place where you sit. Oh, that's a good
Just, like,
one.
I don't know why I never, like, just, like, put it together in my mind, really. But, hey,
The more you know.
I just wasn't using the same toilets as men anywhere except for in my house, I guess.
Yeah.
Because, you know, most bathrooms are gendered at schools and stuff.
And so why would you ever come into contact with that?
Right.
Yeah.
Wild.
So this is not an unwritten rule. This is just like something that I was told was true by my parents and believed it was true. Or like my mom, I just believed it was true for a really long time.
Okay.
Was that you can ignore stop signs in parking lots?
Really?
Yeah, because one time when I was young, I called her out. I was like, Mom, you have to stop at that stop sign. Like, you just passed it. And she's like, we're in a parking lot, Kiera. It doesn't matter. And so I was like, oh,
Stop signs in
Okay.
parking lots aren't real.
they're not real then. And so until like I don't know. It was a while ago. Like I've been stopping at stop signs for a while, for a while now.
Odd way
um,
to say that you've been driving for a while, but okay.
but yeah, I didn't realize that it was not a thing until I started like actually driving. I was just
Wow.
like, you can just ignore those. Why are you
They're
stopping?
not
Way
real.
to waste
They're
time.
just signs. It's like,
It's like a suggestion.
that's so funny. That's so funny. It
Uh,
would be, if they weren't red, then like maybe it could be a suggestion. You know what I mean?
it was yellow but still said
Just
stop.
stop. Maybe with a question mark at the end. Like, you can.
That's what yield is for.
It could help. That's true. That's super true.
I don't know why I believed that. She just told me, so I was like, yeah,
That's super
must be
funny.
correct.
That's so funny.
Uh,
Honestly, I feel like someone else has told me that stop signs in like I don't think you can get pulled over for going through a stop sign in a parking lot. So maybe that's what they're on about.
are you sure?
No, I'm not sure, but I feel like someone told me that once.
Maybe.
Maybe it was your mom.
It was my mom. I think she just didn't want me to call her out anymore.
That's
I was
so
that
funny.
annoying kid. I don't know if you ever watched these because you didn't have cable, right?
No, but I would go to my cousin's house after school, so I'm maybe.
Maybe.
Tell me what
Okay,
you're
so
saying.
there was this one very specific show that when I was little, I used to watch. It was like a short that would happen in between the actual shows. It was called like
Okay.
Safety Patrol or something.
Oh.
Not Paw Patrol, Safety Patrol. And it would be like a 2 minute video on TV about like, stop, this is a safety patrol violation. And it would be like, you have to turn all of your pot handles inwards so you don't accidentally run into them while you're in the kitchen. And I would do that to my parents all the time for like stupid things. Stop, you must hold scissors like this when you're walking or you're gonna hurt yourself.
That's so
Safety
funny.
violation. This is the
Wow.
safety patrol.
You must have been so fun to be around.
I stopped. It was a phase. I stopped doing it. But then you kind of start seeing those things, and you're like, wow, you could really hurt yourself if you
Yeah.
not.
I'm gonna bring that back in our house. I'm gonna, if I see you cutting it with a knife the wrong way, I'm gonna be like, stop, safety patrol. This is a safety violation. That's so funny. Wow, I'm really excited all the time. That's so funny.
Little.
You were really just, you were taking care. Wow. Speaking of things that people told us that just weren't really true, one time, and I don't know, like, this might be my earliest memory at this point, because you know how you talk about having an earliest memory and then you can't really remember it, you can just remember telling people about this? I
Mm-hmm.
can still vividly remember living in
Mm-hmm.
this moment, so it might be my earliest memory. So, I was in kindergarten. Pretty young,
Pretty young.
pretty young. And as all little girls who are raised by horse girls do, I was wearing cowboy boots.
Obviously.
Mm-hmm. And we got to go. So I went to school in a smaller school. It was a K through 8. And so all of the like really elementary school kids were on the first floor and then the older kids were on the second floor because we didn't want, you know, eighth graders bowling into a kindergartner and then
Mm-hmm.
knocking us down and we would be sad.
Obviously.
And so we got to go upstairs because we were being read to by the older kids, and it was super exciting. But my kindergarten teacher wasn't there that day, so we had a different teacher, and she scared the ever living, like,
But
everything
Jesus.
out of me, right? She was so scary to me. I don't even know why. I just had decided one day in my mind that she was the most terrifying woman I've ever seen, which a bunch of other people loved her. And I just don't know what was wrong with me. But, anyways, we were going up these stairs. I was wearing cowboy boots. And she said, okay, everyone, we need to have our feet be quiet as mice or else the crocodiles are going to eat us.
Oh my gosh.
And I said, oh my gosh, my boots cannot be as quiet as mice right now. Do you know how quiet mice are? They're so quiet. And
Yeah.
so we went up these stairs and I was making like kind of a lot of noise because of my boots. And so we get up there and then these kids start reading to us and I start crying. And like the older kid is like, I don't know what to do right now, so I guess I'll just keep reading. It's probably fine. And then we end up, like, that was the last thing we did that day. We end up going back down the stairs. I'm like having a full meltdown because I'm just so. I'm not even sad that I'm gonna die. I'm sad for my parents that they're gonna
Oh
lose
my
their daughter. Which
god.
is like such a complex emotion for a child to
For
have.
a very young child.
Right? I was like, they're gonna be so sad without me there. I'm just losing my and anyways, I make it down the stairs. I'm crying. The thing is, this teacher didn't even notice. My mom picks me up. I'm like and she's like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And I was like, "Mrs. So and so said that if I wasn't as quiet as the mouse, the alligators were going to eat me." And I'm wearing my boots. My mom was like, "There are no alligators. It's okay.
They just
This was just a like a
this is just a
joke,
ploy to get you to be quiet.
It was like you were probably very quiet, and I was like, "Oh, my boots." And that was my first encounter with like
Dad?
someone saying, "Hey," like honestly, with that, but also with someone saying something that they didn't really mean.
Yeah.
And I was a kid. I was a little baby kid. And I was just like, why would anyone ever say anything that they don't mean? And now I do it almost every single day
Wow.
because it's funny.
Wow.
So, hey, that's on growth.
That's on becoming an adult. Well, one thing I believed too, I don't know, I self-imposed this, and I grew out of this very fast.
Okay.
But when I was a child, I believed that if I could pronounce a word, this is also a very vivid memory. If I could pronounce it, I could spell it.
Wow. That's such a strong belief.
I have no idea. I was really young. I vividly remember driving down. My cousins kind of lived in like the foothills, so they were about a 10-15 minute drive away from like town. And I would go up and hang out with them, and then we'd drive back to town. We were driving back to my house, and my cousin was there, and she was like, "Can you spell tree?" And I was like, Tree. Like, yeah, obviously,
Yeah,
tree.
easy.
And then she said a long word. I don't remember what word it was. It was just like so many like
Sounds.
syllables.
Yeah.
And I was just like, maybe it was like consonant or something, and I couldn't pronounce it. Like I was so young that the word was really hard for me.
Yeah.
And I just remember like trying and trying and trying, and then I like finally was able to say it, and I was like, yeah, I can spell that.
You're like, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I can spell that. I can say it. And I can spell it.
And the thing is, I'm horrible at spelling. Like I'm still horrible at spelling to this day.
Famously bad at spelling.
And I don't know. I don't know why I thought that.
That's so funny.
But while you were telling your story, I remembered one of the things that
Oh.
had spurred me
Great.
to like have this as a topic.
Yeah. You
And
missed it because we don't have a video for this episode, but Kira poked me, and I was like, I don't know why she would be poking me right now because we don't have a battery on the camera to die.
yeah. But I was like, wait, I got it. I got it.
Perfect.
Make a moment. But it's how do we feel? The social cue of there is communal food
Okay.
in the center of a table.
Okay.
People are eating it.
Okay.
There's one little piece of that food left.
Never touch it.
No one ever touches it.
Yeah.
Until one person goes, "What?"
I guess I'll be the one.
Would you? What are your thoughts? What are your views?
I think the best way I've found to get over this is A, be really hungry and don't care. Or you do the oh my gosh, Kira, do you want that last raisinette? And then you say no, but I'm not really asking the whole table, but I'm definitely like it's out there that
Yeah.
I'm interested in that raisinette.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like if anyone really wanted it, they could interject and be like,
Yeah, you're
well,
kind of
if
giving
Kira doesn't want it, I want it, you know? But
Giving
at
them
the
an
same
out.
time- exactly. At the same time, it's like, well, I did ask someone, so I'm not a bad person.
Yeah, and take it. So that's a great strategy. Or if it's big enough to like feasibly split in half, but not like enjoyable enough to have in half,
Okay.
I always say, "Hey, do you wanna split this?"
Yeah.
Just so that they can go, oh no, that's fine. You go for it. You
Nice.
go
That's
for
even
it.
better
And so it's
because
on
someone else
them.
is
They're giving
telling you to
you
do it.
permission to do
Nice.
so.
Wow, I
Yeah.
like yours better,
Yeah. I
honestly.
mean,
It's a
you have to
win.
choose which strategy you want and win. It's hard. It's a hard
Yeah,
balance.
it's true.
Um, but as I have gone into more social situations with different people,
Mm.
it is crazy, even if you get multiple dishes to share, how you are always left with one thing at the end that everyone refuses to eat until someone just like opens the floodgate
Yeah,
and is okay.
that's so funny.
Yeah.
Okay, you go to a potluck. There are, let's say, 20 different dishes. How do you approach this? Do you get a little bit of every single dish? Do you just pick and choose what looks best?
I am okay, 20 is a lot. That is many
I wanted to
dishes.
choose it to be
But
a
that's
lot.
okay. Yeah, I do try everything now
Okay.
that I am older and wiser.
Okay.
When I was young, I was like only the things that I like.
Nice.
I don't have time to try all of
I
these.
can't mess around with
I
no
can't mess with
green looking vegetables.
exactly. I'm going straight for the mac and cheese. I'm piling that on my plate. Now, yes, I am a distinguished young woman. I can grab many a thing. A little bit.
Little bit of that.
And then it's kind of fun to find something that you like and then go back and get more of that thing because you know you like it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. What about you?
I think I don't know. I think a lot of my eating habits I've inherited from my father, and he's a you can't insult the hosts. You know, you
Mm,
try a little bit of everything, but at a potluck, it's a recipe for disaster.
mm.
You're so full, and then so I'm usually a try a little bit of everything, get a little bit of every single dish, and then at the end of it, you're like, dang, that one thing that I had was really good, but you're a little SOL because you're so full.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go back for a second round of that really good thing. So I will say that I am still trying to get over that. Maybe unknown rule to the rest of the world. But a rule which I have been following for most of my life. So yeah, there you
Yeah.
are.
So another thing that I was thinking about that I only know because my mom told me is after you meet someone professionally,
Mm-hmm.
you know, we all want the professional handshake and
Mm,
you look a little nicer and all that stuff.
right.
But one thing she always told me is that after you have that encounter, after you leave, you send a follow-up thank you email
Hmm.
at all times
Wow.
because then it reminds them that you met and that you care and that things are good.
Wow.
Should be noted, my mom was super into sending thank yous. Like, I could never get away with not writing thank you cards after a holiday or a birthday. That was
Wow.
always a thing. We had to remember who sent what, and then we'd go through, and then I would write thank you notes for everyone. But it also extended to professional stuff.
Wow.
I don't know if that's an unwritten rule for everyone else. It seems like a maybe more my family thing, or like an olden day thing.
I don't think that it's a bad thing to do, but I also don't think that a lot of people do it.
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe
that was
it
my
should be
gauge.
more of an unwritten rule.
Oh,
Yeah,
but I always used to do that. And I still do that. Like
I think that's great.
I feel like it for some reason gives me good juju.
Yeah,
Like to
totally. Well, it's the effort and it's the thought. I don't think that it's something where people would be upset if there was no follow-up email
yeah.
after the
Yeah, yeah,
official
yeah.
encounter, but also probably wouldn't hurt.
Yeah. So
Nice.
that's a small thing. I don't know. Now they're just like coming, they're bubbling up to mind of like these things that we do.
Yeah.
These little things that we all decide are like right or
Yeah,
wrong.
I agree.
But nobody's ever told us they're right or wrong. We just do
No.
them.
Yeah. You know when you have someone over to your house and you have to ask them if they want to drink anything, and they always look at you weird when you offer them milk, even though we do have milk. But like, so I've been the one who's offered the milk and been like, "Hey, can I get you anything? We have water. We have like some canned stuff, or we have milk." And everyone's always like, oh no, no milk. Like, I'll just have some water, you know? And I've been on the other side of it too, where it's like, oh hey, Sarah, like, can I get you anything? We have tea, we have coffee. We could also get you some milk. And you never want to be the person who asks, you like, yes, I would like a glass of milk, because it just makes you sound weird. And they probably have that milk for a specific reason, like cereal or baking. And so you don't really want to say yes, but it is there, so they do offer it to you, just in case you see inside of their fridge and you're like, well, it's weird that you didn't offer me that milk.
Wow, this is not something that's ever come to my mind, but I'm glad you're saying it out loud. I didn't realize you were so insecure about your milk drinking habit.
I think it's really odd that we all feel obligated to offer the milk. And like we would be hurt if the milk wasn't offered, but no one's ever gonna take you up on that.
I've never offered anyone milk in my entire life.
Okay, just me then. I don't know what happened to me at my aunt and uncle's house, and they offered me some milk, and I was like, oh no, I don't want a glass of milk. You would
Sarah
think I'm
loves
weird.
Sarah loves milk.
I do love milk. Next time I go over, I'll probably say yes, now that we're having this conversation. But then, we had some friends over for the Super Bowl. One friend came a bit earlier than everyone else, and I was like, hey, we have tea, we have water. Do you want a glass of milk?
Oh my god.
And they were like, ew, no. And I was like, see, that's the way everyone responds.
I'm sorry. Everyone is turning down your milk, Sarah.
I'm not even upset about it. I just don't want to be the weird one for taking someone up on the offer.
That seems like a pickle.
It is a pickle. See, now if you offered someone a pickle,
They'd also think that's weird. Okay, this is another unwritten rule of my professional life that I am just starting to understand. And that is like having normal food at work. So I always eat, not always, but if I'm gonna eat a weird meal, I do it at home where no one can see me except for you guys. And then I bring the real food that seems like a real meal to work.
Nice.
So I cannot be judged by my coworkers who may or may not be judging me. But I'm like, I can't just bring in like all of these random things that I happen to like. I can't bring in girl dinner for lunch.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
That would be
People
weird.
would be you, and you'd be like, what? It's enough food.
It's enough food. I'm eating calories right
Yeah.
now, and I will be full
Yeah.
and not hangry later. Why? And so I always have to bring in the adult meal, and I haven't been doing the best job of that recently because it's just gonna be pasta tomorrow. But that's what we have, okay?
I'm sure no one's like. I'm so sure no one's looking at your food. I don't think I've ever looked over at someone else's lunch and been like, odd. You seem young.
You see me.
Yeah,
I guess, but that is where I feel insecure at work.
That's okay. That's okay. Hey, fellow podcast listeners. I know there may not be very many of you, but I need you to weigh in on this. Would it be odd to put everything bagel seasoning on mac and cheese?
Not mac and cheese.
Not mac and cheese.
On tortellini.
On tortellini. Very different. The cheese is not on the outside of the noodle, it's on the inside. Would it be odd? Just let us know. Let us know in the comments on the YouTube video. Let us know in the poll.
Yeah, because we're going to make
On
a poll this
Spotify?
time.
Yeah.
Also, let us know what weird food combinations that you have tried.
I think that sounds
Because
great.
Sarah and I frequently mix food together that maybe is slightly questionable.
It's true. It's true. I put ketchup on more things than a lot of other people do. And I think it's great. That's all I've got to say on that. Like, if you can add cheese and ketchup to something, it's probably better than it was before. Swear not.
And that's where we're at. Sorry this video Sorry this podcast was a little bit all over the place. We thought we had a plan when we came into it. It turns out we didn't at all.
I think that this podcast reflects our mental acuity for the week.
Yeah, it's really low.
We have been having trouble with the words.
I've been
And
starting a lot of sentences and not finishing them.
You finished a lot of sentences during this episode.
I know, I was trying really hard.
You did great. And, there were also a lot of sentences that you, dear listener, do not get to hear because they did not get finished.
Yeah, and they've been cut. So,
there you are.
Thank you for listening to almost all of our full sentences. We're really good at speaking, arguably.
Arguably, we are really good at speaking. We post more episodes akin to this one, but slightly more together on Wednesdays to our Spotify channel and to our YouTube channel. So head on over, give us a little 5-star rating, give us a like, a thumbs up, whatever the heck you do, and share this with someone that, recently filled you in on a unspoken social norm that you didn't realize was a thing.
Or share us with someone who you don't mind breaking the social norms with.
Aww, that's
nice.
True.
Yeah.
That was very cute.
So, we really do hope you enjoyed at least parts of this episode. We tried to be entertaining, but honestly, we were at a loss for words sometimes.
What can you do?
We promise next week will be better. We are promising that. But thank you so much for listening to
Arguably Speaking. Bye!